All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of The Divine Speaker. Last episode, we learned that Leos had a friend at one point in his life, and he was just about to tell us a little bit more about them, perhaps. So let's just head right into it. I want to hear about this friend that Leos had. Okay. The sound of a whip slicing through the air. Weird kind of way to start, but okay. Of a blade barely missing its target. The feel of the cool metal against his skin. In the dark, empty room where he'd spent most of his life. Silent, yes, but it felt almost as if it were alive. Its own being, trapping him in here forever. The redhead opened his eyes and looked around the room. He thought for a while. He wondered when he'd next eat, when he'd next see the sun, whether his parents would come see him soon. He knew the answers to all these questions, yet his heart still yearned for more. Under him, a thin blanket on the wooden floor, his bed. In the summer it was fine, but in the winter he thought he'd freeze to death. But that release hadn't yet come to him. That's really sad. On the floor beside him, a knife with a leather handle. A bow leant up against the low table, not far from him. He gripped at the leather, holding on to the blade tightly. The only thing that made him remember he was truly alive. In the corner, a target and a training dummy. With the flick of his wrist, the knife sunk deep into the dummy's fake flesh. The sound filled his mind with happiness. But sometimes he wondered if this was true happiness. He shook his head, instantly throwing away those thoughts. This is happiness. Standing from his makeshift bed, he walked over to the dummy and pulled the knife out easily. It was already filled with countless other holes and due for replacing. As his eyes turned over the dark environment, he suddenly froze up. The door to his room looked awfully large, awfully imposing, just as it always had. Yet, strangely, it was also enticing, like a forbidden fruit. Only a few voices ever came through that door. His mother, his father, a sibling who he'd never met. Sometimes a dark and sinister voice that he'd come to fear the most. The voice of the speaker, Lucius. He knew the door would be locked, the same as always, but he found himself drawn to it, as if something was calling to him. His hand reached out and touched the door lightly, as if he was afraid it would hurt him. It opened silently. The room beyond was quiet and empty. Filled with dread, he took his first step. Okay, tiny Leos. The sky was filled with countless stars, more than he ever could have imagined. It was dark and cool, but the feeling of the wind against his skin was something he had long forgotten. His eyes instantly welled up and overflowed, yet he dared not to make a noise. He knew he would be found in an instant, and the punishment would be severe. Once he'd taken that first step, the others came with ease. He ran down the darkened road, seeing all the sights he didn't even realize existed. Everywhere he looked was something new. And yet, he couldn't expel the deep dread that settled in the bottom of his stomach.
Just a few minutes.
Whoa, hey! Watch where you're going!
A little boy jumped back in fright as Leos ran into him with full force. He looked like he couldn't remember. All he could remember was that grin, one so filled with confidence he'd never forget.
I'm sorry.
What's that? Speak up. You're talking too quietly.
I'm... sorry.
Oh, are you scared? Hey, that's okay. You don't have to be sorry. It's no big deal. My name's...
What was his name again?
I'm Leos.
Well, Leos, are you lost or something? Do you, want me to help you find your mom?
No,
Uh,
I have to... I have to go home now.
wait!
The boy turned and ran. He didn't quite realize why. Perhaps he was scared he'd be found out if he stayed any longer, or perhaps he was afraid of speaking to someone his own age, something he'd never been given the chance to do before. Or perhaps he was afraid that his judgment would come true. He ran all the way home, all the way back into his room, where he shut the door quietly and jumped back into his bed. The next few days were largely uneventful. He hadn't dared to touch that door, and he was delivered food as usual, so he finally let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. His eyes went back to his door, imposing yet inviting, and his mind traveled back to that boy he only just met. Perhaps, if things were different, they could have been friends. He swallowed hard, and his hand went back to his door, unlocked again. The steps came easier this time. The rush of freedom felt too good to be denied, and he ran back through the dark streets to where he'd met the other boy just a few days earlier. He hadn't expected to find anyone, really. But he did.
Leos!
Next to him was a woman with green hair, holding his hand softly. She smiled at the boy, ruffled his hair, and told him to go and play. The way she looked at him, and he looked at her, was something Leos had longed for all of his life. He found himself looking away.
Yo, Leos! Hey, I'm talking to you. Wanna go play?
Play? With me?
Yeah, my mom said we can.
Yeah, I want to.
Leos made eye contact with the woman, the boy's mother, he guessed, and she smiled back warmly before reaching into her bag and pulling something out. She handed the two boys something each. They were small and pink and looked delicious. His mind wandered back to the training he'd been given. Anyone that gave you something for nothing wanted to use you. Anyone that gave you food wanted to poison you. He took a bite, the sweet flavor filling his mouth.
Good, right? My mom makes the best macarons.
She waved him off, leaving the two boys alone.
It's good.
Right? Anyway, let's go play.
He took Leos's hand in his and pulled him into a run. The two would play together all night, traveling all over the town, to the windmills and the fields, to the castle and the markets. When Leos went home that day, he was filled with a feeling he couldn't quite work out the name for, and it wasn't until years later he realized what it was. Happiness. And so he spent the next few months filled with this unnamed happiness, sneaking out during the night to meet up with the other young boy. They were fast friends. Leos kept his life a secret, which made the other all the more curious when he showed off his knife-throwing skills. Of course, this led to a knife-throwing competition, which was frowned upon slightly by his mother, but that was all part of the fun. On one particular stormy night, Leos stared at the door once again. With the weather as bad as it was, he was unsure if he should attempt to sneak out again, but in the end, his desire to run away won against his reason, and he found himself back outside. He ran back to where he met the other boy so often. He ran as if his life depended on it. The wind against his skin was refreshing and cool. But as he came to that spot, no one stood there. He stared down at the pool of water at his feet. Maybe it was the darkness, and maybe he was seeing things, but he was sure they were dyed red. His heart filled with dread, and he whirled around to see a figure in the distance. That dread sunk through his entire body at the figures walking towards him. His parents.
Did they... Was he...
No, he's fine.
I don't know. I was dragged home by my hair and told that this is what would happen if I got close to anyone.
Leos, I don't know what to say.
If he died, it was my fault. I knew full well that spending time with him put him in danger. Not to mention my judgment.
He winced at the word judgment before shaking his head. When his eyes met mine again, they were filled with anguish.
What was his name?
I wish I could remember. I was so young, and I spent the years after pushing it out of my mind.
It's not your fault. How could that be your fault? Having a friend, that's not something to be punished over.
Can you see why I can't stay by your side? Why I don't want you to get close to me? The same thing will happen to you.
It won't. We're so far from home. I won't let anyone hurt you ever again.
You don't understand.
Oh,
but of course you don't. I haven't told you why. I'm sorry, Rain. It's not that I don't trust you. I'm just not ready to talk about it yet.
That is surprisingly emotionally mature. I'm proud of him. His judgment. How could it cause him this much pain? Why should he have to be so terrified of being close to anyone? It's not fair.
Okay, I understand.
The sky had long since become a deep blue, and stars filled the sky outside of my window. My heart could know no rest. It ached for Leos, for the childhood he lost, for the fears that had been instilled in him.
I'm here for you now. And I'll still be here when you're ready to tell me.
I wrapped my arms tightly around Leos.
Thanks, Rain. I appreciate it.
No. Thank you for trusting me.
It's no big deal. I should have told you before.
It's a big deal to me.
Jeez, when did you become so emotional?
I don't know. I don't understand it either.
It's getting late. I better go back to my room.
What?
You've been fine the last couple of nights. Just make sure to lock the door, and I promise I'll be here in an instant if anything happens.
My arms wrapped around him tighter, and my mind became muddled. Just what do I want from him? Why do I want to argue so badly?
Please don't go.
Well, you can't stand to spend even a moment without me?
No, it's very unfortunate.
But really, why? You'll be fine.
I don't know. I keep thinking, but I really can't work it out. I don't want you to go anywhere. That's all I know.
All right. Fine, but just for this one last time, all right? You don't want to become too dependent on me.
I don't mind. I don't want to be anywhere but by your side anyway. And Leos, I don't think your friend regrets spending that time with you, so don't blame yourself.
You're starting to sound delusional. Come on, let's get some sleep.
I'm exhausted.
Well, we've got a big day tomorrow, too. So go on and get off of me already.
I forgot we do have a big day tomorrow. We know where Caspian is. With a sigh, I pulled away from him and plopped myself down onto the bed. He rubbed at the back of his neck awkwardly, staring at the empty spot beside me.
What are you waiting for? Come over here.
I patted the spot, inviting him in, and finally he gave up and laid down beside me. For some reason, I found myself content with watching him as my eyelids became heavier and heavier, until I was finally out cold. And we don't even get dreams. So sad. Leos's eyes opened, full of exhaustion. He was tired beyond measure, but there were a few reasons why he couldn't sleep. Okay, list them to me. Reason number 1. Since leaving Aurelia Cavella, his nightmares have become worse and worse, to the point where it would take him hours to finally fall asleep. And when he did, he was greeted with memories he'd rather forget. Inwardly, he laughed at himself. Tell me I'm bad with mornings. Reason number 2, however, was one he couldn't quite understand. His eyes went to the other side, lingering on the young man who was sleeping soundly. Rain. He found his eyes drawn all over him, to his eyes, his nose, his mouth. And since sleeping beside him, his dreams had mostly been silent. Nice, nice. As if the nightmares that plagued his mind had been scared away by someone so what? Insufferable? Useless? No. By someone so kind. That's what confused him the most. Was he insufferable and useless sometimes? Well, yes, but there was something else, too. Something that pulled at Leos's heartstrings and made him never want to leave. And that feeling terrified him. It went against everything he ever believed. The path that was laid out before him by the divine speaker seemed to go in a straight line before. From point A to B, that would be his life. But now, it seemed as if it had curved away, and so many different routes were laid out before him. Where should he end up? Point C, point D? How could anyone ever choose? With his thoughts all messed up, he heard Rain shuffle beside him, and realized it was obvious which route he should take. But he didn't have the guts to do it. The last time he had gotten close to someone, they had died. No matter where he went, death followed. Okay, so step 1 to Leos's healing arc. We find out that his friend didn't die. I mean, I feel like that's kind of obvious. I feel like we saw that sprite of his friend, and we all knew, right? We all knew. It doesn't help that I, knew spoilers beforehand and knew who his friend's true identity was. Ooh. But, come on. Come on. It was as his judgment decreed. His life would be one of solitude, and that was fact. Or was it? The speaker never said a word of the outside world. Perhaps, if he was wrong about that, then he was also wrong about Leos. Perhaps he had a choice from the start, but was too afraid to see it. But that all depends on whether he's lying or not. If he really can talk to the gods and our destinies are really true, then there would be no choice but to leave him. I won't put him in more danger than he manages to get himself into. I'm getting all soft. This isn't like me at all. Without thinking, he reached out and played with a strand of Rain's hair. His face scrunched up a little before relaxing again. Cute. What? Cute? He's not cute. Something really is wrong with me. I don't like the heartbeat sound effect I just heard. Your prey is right there. Fast asleep, too. You wouldn't know. he wouldn't know what hit him.
Huh.
You've never messed up a job. Kill him, then go back to Aurelia Cavella.
No. No, I won't.
Letting go of Rain, he reached around for one of his abandoned daggers and wildly waved it around the room, desperately searching for the owner of that voice. But it was silent. He jumped up from his place, tiptoeing over to the door. Still locked. His fists balled by his sides. Thought I'd changed. I want to change. Anyone but Rain. In his mind, he thought he could hear someone laughing at him, but no one was there. With a flick of his wrist, he threw his dagger into the corner of the room, where the shade of a target still settled in his mind, before instantly regretting it. There wasn't any target there. This wasn't Aurelia Cavella, it was Sid Kayum. Well, Sign can pay for the damages, I guess. It's the only thing he's good for. Damn, Leos! He pulled the dagger from the wall, which looked slightly less than pristine now, and collapsed back in bed beside Rain. Just as he thought, he felt most comfortable with a weapon in his hand. He closed his eyes, still holding on tight to the leather hilt.
Fine, you're pretty good with a dagger, but there's gotta be something I can win at too. I know! Let's play hopscotch!
I wonder who said that long ago. When I opened my eyes, I came face to face with dark red hair. Okay, so we're back in Rain's point of view. The POV switches are so strange when we don't, get notified that we're switching points of views. This is Rain now. Leo slept beside me peacefully, his chest gently rising and falling. A smile came to my face in an instant. Wait, what's that? When I looked down at his hands, he was gripping one of his daggers tightly, his knuckles white. What's he have that for? Isn't it dangerous to sleep like that? With a confused sigh, I plucked the weapon from his grip and gently set it down on the floor, careful not to damage anything. I wouldn't want Sign to have to pay for any damages. The space where the dagger was looked very empty, though, as if something was missing. It looked lonely. What if With trepidation, I raised my shaky hand towards his.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
It doesn't look like nothing.
I wasn't doing anything.
Then why are you acting so suspicious?
I was just, going to hold your hand.
Rain, don't admit it.
What?
Don't
Don't do stuff like that.
Damn, okay.
Why not?
I don't know, it's just... It's weird.
Oh.
Wordlessly, a hand appeared in front of my downcast eyes.
Huh?
Look, are you gonna take it or not?
Yes.
I took his hand in mine with ease, his long, slender fingers slipping between mine. Well, now what? We both stared at each other, not sure of what to do next.
Well, that's enough of that.
Alright.
Yeah, too weird.
Both of our faces had turned a deep shade of red, and we pulled our hands away from each other simultaneously. It's too weird. This feeling it gives me is too weird, right? Leos rose from the bed, redressing and strapping his weapons back onto his leg. I watched him from the bed for a moment before jumping up and doing the same, minus the weapons. Caspian. Today's the day. I'm sure of it. Well, now that you say that, I'm less sure that we're going to see Caspian today.
So, you go first.
Oh, I was just going to say we should find Sign and Fawn. We haven't seen them a lot lately.
I was thinking the same thing.
Wow.
You wanting to see Sign?
Maybe I've changed my mind.
What did you want to say?
Just thanks for last night and all that.
Oh. No, I should be thanking you.
No, I never had the chance to talk about it to anyone before. It felt good to get it off my chest.
Leo's therapy arc. Nice.
Never?
You're the first.
I felt my heart beat hard in my chest, but ignored the strange sensation.
I feel privileged that you can trust me.
You should. Now hurry up, you're too slow.
But you were being nice just a second ago.
Oh, that's enough sappiness from me for a lifetime.
I like it when you're being honest and nice.
Yeah, I don't. Hurry up.
Without checking to see if I was following, he opened the door and left, leaving me scrambling to catch up with him, as per usual. It's definitely one of his bad habits. Fawn and Sign stood by the desk, talking to Aaron, but turned towards us as we approached. Instantly, a huge grin took up most of Sign's face, and Fawn looked away. Okay, what nefarious deeds are you committing?
My, oh my, the lovebirds have finally decided to grace us with their presence.
I see.
The what?
Leos, I hope you weren't too rough with our delicate little flower last night. The way you dragged him back to his room, so filled with desire.
Alright, shut up already. I've had enough of your voice.
Leos raised his hand and covered Sign's mouth, nearly putting him into a headlock.
Oh, much better. Go on, tell him what you found out.
Alright. Well, we found out that Caspian owns a carpentry store not far from here, apparently. I want to go find him right now. We'll come with you then.
Oh, gross. Did you just lick my hand?
You wouldn't let go. I do have to breathe, you know.
Yeah, you'd be a lot quieter if you didn't.
Then who would you have to annoy you?
Rain.
Preferably no one.
We should set off and look for his store. Are you excited, Rain?
Yes.
Nervous, I think. All this traveling and searching, I just hope he'll have answers.
And if he doesn't?
I don't know, honestly.
Filled with that worry, we quickly left the Silver Willows to hunt for Caspian's store. After taking a moment to recall the directions that Hone gave me, I led the way. Leo stood by my side, walking with me the entire way. The further I walked, the faster my steps became. I could hear my heartbeat beating loudly in my ears, and my breath stuck in my throat. I felt almost refreshed after talking with Leos last night. My mind was clear, and I was finally ready to meet Caspian. Please, Caspian. Please be here. I need you right now.
Oh, the festival is on later too. Should we go?
Sure.
I wouldn't mind having a look around.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Nice.
Wow, you really couldn't sound any less excited. Think of it as a date.
Wait, with you? No thanks.
No, I mean... No, you big dum-dum. I mean Rain. Duh.
I like that Sign's actively trying to push them together. You go, dude. Listen, you lost, but that doesn't mean you're gonna lose everything, huh?
Oh well, if you're not interested, I am. Rain, be my date?
Well,
He's also not interested.
Oh? Sign, who had quickly pounced on me and held on tight to my arm, was pulled away by the scruff of his neck. I looked up to see Leos's eyes on me.
maybe we can all go together?
Turned down yet again. I suppose there's a first time for everything.
The street became quieter and quieter until we hit a side of town a little different from the rest. It was smaller, more humble. It almost reminded me of home. We split up and searched the nearby stores. No, not this one. Not this one either. A hanging sign came into view. It showed the moon overlapping with the sun. Eclipse.
This is it.
The others rejoined me as I pushed open the door. Oh my god, we're actually going in? As we entered the room, we noticed a man behind a counter with his back turned to us. He was bent down and mostly out of view. He didn't stand or turn as we came in.
Welcome. What can I help you with?
I'm looking for someone named Caspian. I heard he worked here.
Well, you found him. What can I do for you?
We did it! Woo! I'm really happy. We did it. Game over, guys. We won. He finally stood up and turned to face us, a smile on his lips. But what I saw wasn't what I expected, and by the looks of it, it wasn't what he expected either. Rain's went on for too long, I accidentally skipped it. Caspian's went on for too short, I was expecting him to go on a little bit longer. Alright. We stared at each other, desperately trying to find an answer amidst the confusion. The silence stretched out, more awkward by the second.
You two look awfully alike.
You're Caspian?
I'm sorry. I think I'm seeing things.
He rubbed at his eyes, blinked a few times, then stared at me once again.
There must be some mistake. Where did you come from?
Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Aurelia Cavella. You couldn't be.
Oh, God, so have mercy. You couldn't be. Rain?
Yeah.
This can't be happening. Am I seeing ghosts now? Is that it? Haven't I suffered enough?
No, perish.
What a cruel joke showing you to me now. Maybe if I pinched myself.
He reached out and touched me, then sighed loudly. That's not pinching yourself, my dude.
I thought you were dead.
I didn't even know you existed.
I can't believe it. After all these years, my own son would appear in front of me as a grown man.
We did it, guys! We found our dad!
Maybe I really have gone insane. That would make more sense right now.
He leant against the counter, barely able to stand.
I've been on a journey searching for you all this time. I never realized.
I think I need to get some fresh air.
I think I might join you.
Leos's eyes had narrowed, and a frown played upon his brow. All three of them turned to leave, but I quickly grabbed onto Leos's sleeve.
Stay. Please.
Okay. Damn. Meeting the parents a little bit fast, but...
Alright, fine.
His words held little conviction, and for some reason he sounded confused. Fawn and Sign quickly left the room, leaving me with Leos and Caspian.
Are you really my father? Prince. Prince Caspian?
No one's called me a prince in a very long time. I don't think I deserve a title like that anymore.
He rubbed at his forehead as if a headache was oncoming.
Aurelia Cavella. I'd almost forgotten the smell of the fields, the sight of the palace. It's been nearly 20 years, Rain. So much must have changed.
I have so much to tell you, but I don't even know where to begin. Aurelia Cavella, it's...
I swallowed, thinking back to my time in Aurelia Cavella, topped with my newfound knowledge.
I think it's dying. I don't know how much longer things can stay the same there. The speaker says everything is under control, that if we pray hard enough, the crops will survive next time, but... I don't believe him. Not anymore.
I recalled what happened with the speaker in our journey so far. The archives, my exile, and my journey to find him. Caspian's face became strange every single time I mentioned the speaker, but he stayed quiet and listened to my story.
The speaker... You make it sound like he has sole control over Aurelia Cavella.
That's right. I've never known any different.
But even without me there, you should have...
How was I meant to know? I was abandoned and brought up in an orphanage.
I'm so sorry.
Don't be. Listen, I need your help. I've come all this way in search of answers, and you're my only hope.
I rolled up my sleeve and showed the markings to him. His face visibly drained of color, and he rolled my sleeve back down. I don't want to see that. Put it back.
I can't help you. It's been too long. It's not my life anymore.
I'm gonna force it to be your life.
Please, you're the only one I've got.
No,
For 12 days, I have labored and struggled, traveling across the entire continent. 12 days. Finally, I have you cornered.
Where did you come from? This is, like, we're not suddenly in a flashback or something, right? Like, why are you here? The door slammed open, and a robed figure stepped in. One I knew well, despite him seeming quite different to usual. The speaker. His eyes locked with Caspian's, and both of their expressions turned dark with surprise. They stared at each other, disbelief showing on their faces. Oh, you were here because of me, Rain. Right. Okay. Again, no words left our lips, as if anything that could be said had shriveled up and died. Caspian reached out, like he expected the speaker to take his hand.
No. How?
Emil.
That's how you pronounce it? Okay. Hold on.
No. How?
Damn, the speaker do be looking tasty, though. He looks just like...
Emil.
Oh god, I'm awful. At that, he turned and ran. Okay, bye. Slamming the door back closed.
Wait!
In an instant, Caspian chased him out the door, leaving Leos and I to ourselves.
That was the speaker?
If he's here, then does that mean... Does that mean it was all a lie?
What do you mean?
Leos is having a life-changing event right now.
Him telling us there was nothing outside of the forest, his proclamations and divinations are judgments. And if he's your father, then...
His frown became deeper and deeper.
Do you think we should follow them?
Emil, please wait.
please!
The fledgling prince crashed through the street, chasing his target with fervent desperation.
Let's talk! Emil!
Like a game of cat and mouse, neither one wanted to give up. They ran and ran until...
All this time you let me believe you were dead.
His voice cracked. 1,000 times he had run over this scenario in his head, yet now he couldn't find the words to give to him.
I was dead. In everything except for name.
Okay, continue. A silence passed between the two. Not awkward, but as if neither one could potentially think of any words to repair the crack in their relationship.
You've grown your hair out again and gotten so tall.
A lot of things change in 18 years.
Damn, tell him, Emil.
Everything changes. Except, you still kept the moon I gave you.
Gee, I wonder why your store's named Eclipse, Caspian.
Don't fool yourself. It's habit, nothing else.
Emil tried to rip his arm away to place an invisible divide between the two, but Caspian held on tight.
Coming all this way was a waste of time. I don't know what I was thinking.
I heard about what happened to Rain. Why did you chase him this far?
Because that bitch kicked me out.
I don't know at this point. Chasing after a shadow. It was a mistake. Forget I ever came here.
Wait, Emil! You came all this way. We should talk. Even if it's just for a moment.
You've had your moment, and I don't feel compelled to give you another. I never wanted to see you again.
Excuse me? Wait a second. Do you think you're the innocent one here? You killed her, and I thought you killed Rain too. Hell, I would have been dead if I didn't run.
It only happened because of what you did to Lucius. He was like a father to me.
Lucius. I'll try to remember that.
He's the least innocent one out of all of us. You should know that by now. No. I didn't come here to argue with you. No matter whose fault it was, it didn't stop me from thinking about you every day since we last met. Please, come back to my store. We can talk about it. Even if it's just for a bit, please.
Fawn, Sign, come with us.
Picking up the other two along the way, we raced through the streets behind Caspian and the speaker, trying to catch up to them.
Even if it's just for a bit, please.
Where are we? Why did it get dark?
What the hell is going on?
Where are we?
You're attracting way too much attention out here. Can we take this back to the shop?
They both nodded solemnly, looking as if they were two kids in trouble with their parents, opposite. I sat them both down and stood in front of them.
Can someone please tell me what exactly is going on? Do you two know each other? And you? Have you been following me? That's creepy.
To be fair, you were told you were being followed.
Why did you kick me out? Why do you want me dead?
With all of my questions hanging in the air, I stared them both down, waiting for their answers.
I can at least explain how we know each other.
That's not the important part to me.
We grew up together. There's not much more to it than that. As the future king and speaker, we were raised in the same household from birth. There were some complications, and we had a small falling out.
Small? You're still as much of a jokester as before. You and that woman killed him.
Who? You're not making any sense. Tell me the whole story.
Your mother... God, where to begin?
He took a deep breath, looking as if he couldn't work out exactly what to say.
When Emil and I were younger, we snuck out of Aurelia Cavella for a while. No, it was more like I dragged him along with me, but it was fun. When we returned, The royal family had been wiped out, save for me. An accident, Lucius said. He was closest to them, being the speaker at the time. Anyone could tell you there was foul play involved, and I know he was the one who did it. He was always power hungry.
There was never any proof. You just wanted to find someone, anyone, to blame.
There was plenty of proof, you just didn't want to see it! He would have killed me too if I were there. In fact, my survival didn't make him happy in the slightest.
Why? Why would he do that?
Isn't it obvious? He wanted full control over Aurelia Cavella. He wasn't interested in working with anyone else. He was no different to any of the speakers that came before him. They get stuck in their own heads, thinking there's some almighty god that everyone else should bow down to.
What happened to this Lucius then?
You want to know what happened to him? Your mother killed him in cold blood.
It was self-defense, and you know it. If she hadn't done it, he would have killed us first. Nia, she was a kind soul, so gentle and caring. All she wanted was to protect Rain and I. Even you. His influence over you was always too powerful.
And then what happened?
Isn't it obvious? He saw everything, and he flew into a rage. Demanded that all three of us be killed since we acted against the speaker. Nia... she died. I thought you died too. I was injured, but I had enough energy in me to run. If I knew you survived, I would have taken you as well. I managed to reach Stagwitch before I collapsed. An old man found me and nursed me back to health. I wanted to go back, but I knew I'd never be able to return. So I made my way to Sidcaeum. The long way, I might add. I stopped in at a few other places along the way.
Okay. That explains why you left. And why you don't get along. But you set me up, didn't you? Why did you want me dead?
Did he seriously just click his tongue at me? How is he so immature? The speaker? Acting like that?
Show us the markings on your arm again. Go on, take a look. You know as well as I do what they mean.
If you know, then why should I have to answer?
This is an old scripture. They called it the writing of the gods. This is your judgment given to you as a gift.
But why? My judgment's never been under question.
It's your destiny. You were always meant to be the next speaker. That's what these markings mean. I suppose since someone didn't pass on the message, they took it upon themselves to tell you.
What? You can't be serious.
But why? All my life, I've been told that.
And who told it to you, Rain?
I lied. That's all there is to it.
Damn, he has no remorse. Okay.
I thought I was out here defying my destiny, paving my own path. But you're telling me it was all a lie anyway?
It seems so.
That still doesn't answer my question. Why would you lie to me?
I did as I was commanded by the divine.
Gods? They told you to lie to me? To follow me? Why?
I don't owe you any answers.
Emil.
I don't know why. I've never known why. Since I was born, their voices were always around me, influencing my every move, consuming my entire being. It took all of my effort just to have a sense of self past their constant chatter. The older I got, the worse it became. Their whispering had turned to yelling and screaming, their words no longer intelligible. But once I was instated as speaker, when their voices had reached a point where I thought I would go insane, a single voice called out to me. He said he would stay by my side and keep the others quiet. For the first time in my life, I was blessed with near silence. one voice in my head was nothing compared to the crescendo from before. Since then, I was blessed with near silence, but that changed once I reached Sid Cahem. That last lone voice disappeared, and for the first time in my life, it was silent. Completely, utterly silent.
What happened to them?
But his was the voice that insisted I did what I did to you. Not that I disagreed.
silent. Truly. After what you told me when we were younger, I thought it was impossible.
A single voice speaking to him. I'll believe you, for now.
Okay, I believe you. Maybe some crazy voice in your head told you to kill me. But
Okay, Rain, when you put it like that...
didn't you even think for 1 second that was probably a pretty bad idea? And you just ran away from it all?
Damn, Rain, get him.
You hired me to kill him.
I did. Leos, wasn't it?
So you know who I am after all. Is it all a lie? Is everything you've ever told us a lie?
If you're referring to your judgment, Lucius never lied.
How do you know that?
He was not a liar. He was a better man than me. Your family awaits your return.
They want me to return, do they? What, to punish me for failing? No, I'm not going back. Fuck this. I'm out.
Wait, Leos!
With a loud bang, he slammed the door as he left. Cyan and Fawn, who were here this entire time apparently, I forgot about them, looked at each other, then back to the door, before excusing themselves again.
We'll meet up later, all right?
Fine.
My mind was stuck on Leos. Why was he so angry?
I've come all this way, and what now? This is meant to be my answer? A destiny I never asked for.
I'll return home tomorrow. I have no business hanging around someplace like this. It was a mistake, and one I'll try to forget quickly.
Cool.
Come with me if you want, or don't. It makes no difference to me. We can pretend nothing happened and you can go back to your old life.
He stood and left the room. His face was missing that harsh edge. He looked sad.
I'll go find him later. I don't think he has anywhere else to stay.
How did he find us anyway?
Rain,
What?
you don't have to go back to Aurelia Cavella, you know. There's always the option to stay here. I've missed out on so much of your life already.
To go home or to stay here? Can I even go back to my old life so easily?
Thank you. I'll think about it. I'll come back tomorrow with my answer.
When I left, the sun had already set over Sid Caem. When I closed the door to the eclipse behind me, I had the faint hope that I'd find Leos waiting for me crushed. He was nowhere in sight. Neither was Cyan or Fawn. I was completely alone. Everything was a lie. Everything I was straining to do, everything I ever believed. Was it all for nothing? My mind drifted back to Fawn, to Cyan, to Leos. No, it wasn't all for nothing. But now what? I kicked at the melting snow beneath my feet to the sound of far-off festivities, but for some reason I wasn't inclined to take part. All this time I thought I was fighting against my destiny, proving that even with a shitty judgment like mine, I could make a difference. But as it turned out, I'd just been running away. The snow crunched underneath my boots, reminding me of all I'd done to get here. None of that was a lie. Everything I'd experienced had been the truth. What do I do? Go home? Stay here? I got my answers. I should be happy, but why does it seem like everything I accomplished, everything I've done along the way, was worth nothing? Like I never had any real choice from the start, and I was being controlled by some imaginary person in the sky. Like everything I did was because those two couldn't get along. If only Leos was here, he'd know what to do. Meanwhile, Leos is having an emotional breakdown.
Shit.
What good timing! Leos gritted his teeth as his fist hit the cold stone wall for what must have been the 6th or 7th time. Shit. Fuck. What am I doing?
What have I been doing all of this time?
He rested his head against the wall, eyes closed. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Why did I ever believe I could change? It's true. All of it is true. No matter where I go, I have to be alone. Why couldn't it be a lie, like Rain's? Why do I have to be stuck with a fate like this? Yet his mind was filled with confusion. He didn't want to go anywhere. He didn't want to leave Rain behind. His heart was in conflict with his rational mind. Something rare for him. I tell him to depend on me, then I push him away further. I tell him to trust me, then all I do is keep secrets. No wonder he's even put up with me for this long.
What do I do?
If something happened to him, what? Why do I care so much?
My, just what did that wall do to you?
Hello? Stranger danger?
Huh?
Before Leos could turn his head back to see who the mysterious voice belonged to, his shoulder was bumped into hard. Alright, short. Leos is just tall. With a sharpened glare, he looked towards the unknown figure. Leos stared, waiting for an apology that would never come.
Piss off. I'm not in the mood.
Is that any way to talk to a stranger?
I don't care who you are.
His dark hair swayed around him in the breeze as he smiled widely.
Hanging around in a place like this? Are you a mercenary?
He went stiff, his fingers playing with the daggers hidden in his clothes.
I've been looking for someone like you. Actually, I have someone I want killed. How about it?
Okay.
I'm not interested.
Even if it meant saving Rain's life?
Excuse me? Who are you?
What? Who are you?
I know all about you, Leos. I know about your past, your present, your future. I know every single one of your fears.
I don't like you, dude.
I don't take well to threats.
Fortunately, I'm not threatening you, just extending a hand in these difficult times.
Leos's eyes found the ground, looking away from the mysterious man.
Nothing you can do will change me. I can't stay by his side.
What if I said I had the power to override your destiny? All you'd have to do is kill the speaker.
Don't do that. I'm trying to get him back together with Caspian. Leo spun back around to look at the man, but no one stood where he had only a few moments earlier. Kill the speaker? And if I do that, I can stay with him? But why? Why don't I want to leave him? Why can't I just leave? Okay, and with that scene and Rain's panting, I think we're gonna end this episode here. A lot of stuff that I knew, that I was hiding from you guys, like who Caspian is. I knew this entire time he was Rain's dad, and I didn't tell you guys. Emil, I know, is the side love interest for Caspian, and I am excited to see how do I get them together. I don't know. I'm working really hard on Ilrin and Varys. They're gonna get there. And now, side project, I'm gonna get Caspian and Emil together. I believe in myself. Yeah. And then just, the plot in general. I don't know who that guy was. I've never seen him in my life, and I know a lot of the sprites in this game. A lot of things going on here, but I am excited to see the next episode, see what happens next. And I hope that you are as well. As always, though, thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to see the next episode early, you can join the channel membership. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode for some more The Divine Speaker. Why is the game named after Emil? I mean, I guess it could be Rain too, because the whole thing was like the tattoo on his arm tells you that he's going to be the next speaker, but like, right now it's currently Emil. What's up with that?